left me to die. You said I was useless. Now look at you. You can't even stand up by yourself." The whole clinic went silent. Everyone stopped what they were doing. Nurses froze. Patients turned their heads. All eyes were on the woman standing over a man in a wheelchair. The man's head was down. He couldn't look at her. His hands were shaking. Tears rolled down his face, but he said nothing. "Chioma, please," his mother whispered, her voice breaking. But Chioma wasn't finished. Her finger pointed straight at the man in the wheelchair. "This man my husband threw me out like garbage when I was sick. He said taking care of me was wasting his life. Now karma has brought him right back to me. And guess what? I'm the only one who can help him now." The man in the wheelchair finally looked up. His name was Tunde, and the look on his face was pure shame. But how did things get this bad? How did a man end up completely broken and helpless in front of the wife he abandoned? Let me take you back to where it all started. Tunde and Chioma lived in a small but nice house in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Tunde worked at a bank in the city center. He wore nice suits and carried a briefcase. People respected him. Chioma was a nurse at Connaught Hospital. She worked long hours, but she loved helping people. They had been married for 5 years. No children yet, but they were trying. On the outside, everything looked perfect. Tunde's friends always said, "Man, you are lucky. Your wife is beautiful. She works hard and she respects you." Tunde would smile and say, I know. But then, everything changed. One evening, Chioma came home from work looking very tired. More tired than usual. She sat down on the couch and couldn't get back up. Her whole body felt heavy. "Tunde, I don't feel well," she said softly. "You're probably just tired. Go and rest," Tunde replied without even looking up from his phone. But the next day, Chioma couldn't go to work. She had a high fever. Her body ached everywhere. Tunde took her to the hospital where she worked. The doctors ran tests. Many tests. After 3 days, they called Tunde and Chioma into an office. "Mrs. Chioma has a serious blood condition," the doctor said. "She will need treatment for at least 6 months, maybe longer. She cannot walk during this time. She needs to rest and take very expensive medicine every day." Chioma's eyes filled with tears. Tunde just sat there, staring at the wall. The doctor continued, "The treatment will cost about 15 million leones, maybe more." That was almost all of Tunde's savings. At first, Tunde tried to be supportive. He bought the first round of medicine. He took Chioma to her appointments. But after 1 month, he started changing. He would come home late. When Chioma asked where he was, he would snap at her. "I'm working. Someone has to pay for all these bills." But Chioma could smell perfume on his shirts. Different perfumes, not hers. After 2 months, Tunde stopped hiding it. He would go out with his friends on Friday nights and not come home until Saturday afternoon. He bought new clothes for himself, but complained when Chioma needed medicine. "This sickness is draining me," he shouted one night. "I can't even enjoy my own money. Everything goes to your medicine. Chioma was too weak to argue. She just cried silently in bed. One day, Chioma's younger brother, Emeka, came to visit. Emeka was only 23 years old. He worked as an Okada rider, a motorcycle taxi driver. He didn't have much money, but he loved his sister. When Emeka saw how thin Chioma had become, he was shocked. "Sister, what is happening to you? Are you taking your medicine?" Before Chioma could answer, Tunde walked in. "Medicine costs money. I'm not a bank." Emeka stood up. "But she's your wife. She took care of you for 5 years when you had nothing." "Stay out of this, small boy," Tunde said coldly. "This is between me and my wife." That night, Emeka slept on the floor next to Chioma's bed. He was worried about her. The next morning, something terrible happened. Tunde woke up early. He took a big bag from the wardrobe and started packing his clothes. Chioma woke up and saw him. Tunde, what are you doing? I'm leaving, he said without looking at her. Leaving? Where? Away from here. Away from you. Chioma tried to sit up, but she was too weak. Tunde, please. I'm sick. I need you. Tunde finally looked at her. His eyes were cold. You think I married you to become your nurse? You think I want to spend my best years taking care of a sick woman? I'm 32 years old, Chioma. I have a life to live. But I'm your wife. You promised. Promises change when situations change, Tunde said, zipping up his bag. You're just a burden now. I can't carry you anymore. Chioma started crying. Where will I go? How will I survive? That's not my problem anymore, Tunde said. He walked toward the door. Emeka, who had been listening from the other room, rushed in. You can't just leave her like this. She's dying. Tunde pushed past him. Watch me. And just like that, Tunde walked out. He didn't look back. Not even once. Chioma collapsed on the bed, crying so hard she couldn't breathe. Emeka held his sister and cried with her. 2 days later, the landlord came. Tunde hasn't paid rent for this month. You people need to leave. Emeka used all the money he had saved, 30,000 leones, to move Chioma to his tiny one-room apartment in Wellington. The room was so small that when Emeka lay down on the floor, his feet touched the wall. But Emeka didn't complain. Every morning, he would wake up at 5, ride his Okada all day, and bring home whatever money he made. He used it to buy food and a little bit of medicine for Chioma. Some days, Emeka didn't eat so that Chioma could have an extra meal. Chioma felt terrible. Emeka, you're suffering because of me. Sister, you took care of me when Papa died. You paid my school fees when Mama couldn't. Now it's my turn to take care of you. Don't worry. Meanwhile, Tunde was living his best life. He moved in with a woman named Blessing. She worked at a hair salon in Lumley Beach. Blessing loved money, and Tunde loved spending money on her. He bought her a new phone. He took her to expensive restaurants. He posted pictures with her on Facebook, with captions like, "Living my best life," and "No stress, just vibes." His friends saw the posts. Some of them felt uncomfortable. One friend named Sori called him. Tunde, what you did to Chioma is wrong, man. That woman stood by you. Sorry, listen. Life is short. I can't spend my youth playing nurse. I did what I had to do. But karma is real, brother. What you do to others. Karma? Tunde laughed. Sorry, I don't believe in that nonsense. I believe in living my life. He hung up the phone and went back to taking selfies with Blessing. But karma was coming. And it was coming fast. 3 weeks later, Tunde was driving Blessing's car, a car he had bought for her with his savings. They were going to Lumley Beach for a party. Tunde was driving fast, showing off. Baby, slow down, Blessing said, but she was laughing. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing, Tunde said confidently. He didn't see the big pothole ahead. The car hit it hard. Tunde lost control. The car swerved across the road, hit a concrete barrier, and flipped over. People screamed. Others ran to help. When they pulled Tunde out of the car, both his legs were twisted in a terrible way. Blessing had only small cuts, but Tunde was in bad shape. At the hospital, the doctor gave bad news. Both legs are badly broken. We need to do surgery immediately. Even after surgery, you'll need months of physical therapy. You might never walk normally again. The surgery cost 12 million leones. Tunde used everything he had left. After the surgery, he lay in the hospital bed with both legs in casts, staring at the ceiling. Blessing came to visit once. She stood at the door, looked at him, and said, Tunde, I'm sorry, but I can't do this. I have my own life. Blessing waits. Take care of yourself, she said, and walked away. She never came back. She even took the car, the one Tunde had bought for her. Tunde's heart broke. Now he understood how Chioma felt. His boss from the bank called. Tunde, we're sorry, but we have to let you go. We need someone who can work. Everything was falling apart. After 2 weeks, Tunde had no money left for the hospital. His mother, Mama Kanu, had to come from the village to get him. She was a retired teacher with very little money, but she did her best. She took Tunde to a free clinic for poor people in Wellington. It was the only place they could afford. As they entered the clinic, Mama Kanu pushing Tunde in a wheelchair, a nurse looked up from her desk. It was Chioma. And that's when Chioma stood up and shouted the words that made everyone in the clinic freeze. The wheelchair stopped moving. Tunde's mother didn't know what to do. She looked at Chioma, then at her son, then back at Chioma. Please, Mama Kanu whispered. He needs help. Chioma's hands were shaking. Seeing Tunde again brought back all the pain. All the nights she cried herself to sleep. All the times she thought she would die alone. All the times Emeka went hungry so she could eat. The other nurses were watching. Patients were watching. Everyone wanted to see what Chioma would do. Tunde finally spoke. His voice was weak. Chioma, Don't, Chioma said, holding up her hand. Don't say anything right now. She looked at Mama Kanu. The old woman had tears in her eyes. Chioma remembered that Mama Kanu had always been kind to her during the marriage. She had nothing to do with what Tunde did. Chioma took a deep breath. Mama Kanu, I will help him. Not because he deserves it, but because I'm not like him. Relief washed over Mama Kanu's face. Thank you, my daughter. Thank you. But, Chioma continued, looking directly at Tunde, he will know exactly what he put me through. Every single day. For the next 3 months, Chioma became Tunde's nurse, and it was the hardest 3 months of Tunde's life. Every morning, Chioma had to help him out of bed. Tunde couldn't do it himself. His legs were too weak. Every morning, she had to help him bathe. She had to help him get dressed. She had to help him eat when his hands shook too much. And every single day, Tunde had to look into the eyes of the woman he abandoned. The first week was the worst. Tunde felt so ashamed he couldn't even speak. Other patients at the clinic had heard what happened. They would look at him and shake their heads. One old man said loudly, "That's the man who left his sick wife. Now see him. Karma is real." Tunde wanted to disappear. One day, while Chioma was changing his bandages, Tunde tried to apologize. "Chioma, I'm so sorry for what I..." "Save it," Chioma said without looking at his face. "I'm not doing this for your apologies. I'm doing this because it's my job." Her words hurt more than his broken legs. But Chioma wasn't cruel. She did her job well. She made sure Tunde took his medicine on time. She made sure his wounds were clean. She made sure he did his physical therapy exercises even when it hurts. One afternoon, Emeka came to the clinic to pick up Chioma after work. When he saw Tunde in the wheelchair, his face went dark. "Sister, why are you helping this man? After what he did to you?" Chioma touched her brother's arm gently. "Emeka, if I treat him the way he treated me, then I'm no better than him. I'm helping him so he can see the difference between a good person and a wicked person." Emeka wasn't happy, but he respected his sister's decision. As weeks passed, something changed in Tunde. He started seeing Chioma differently. He watched how she treated every patient with kindness. He watched how she smiled at children who were scared. He watched how she stayed late to help people even when her shift was over. He realized what he had lost. One day, during physical therapy, Chioma was helping Tunde practice walking with a cane. He could only take a few steps before his legs gave out. Chioma caught him before he fell. "I've got you," she said. Those 3 words broke something inside Tunde. He started crying. Not small tears, big, heavy sobs that shook his whole body. "I'm sorry," he cried. "I'm so sorry, Chioma. I was wicked. I was stupid. I threw away the best thing in my life. You were dying, and I left you. You needed me, and I walked away. Now you're the one saving me. How can you even look at me?" Chioma helped him sit back down in the wheelchair. She handed him a tissue. "Tunde, do you know what I learned when you left me?" she said quietly. "I learned that I'm stronger than I ever thought. I learned that real love doesn't come from a husband or a wife. It comes from people who truly care. My brother Emeka, he had nothing, but he gave me everything. The women at my church, they collected money for my medicine when they barely had money for themselves. They taught me what real love looks like. I don't deserve your forgiveness," Tunde said. "You're right, you don't," Chioma agreed. "But I forgave you anyway. Not for you, for me. Because holding on to anger was making me sick again. But forgiving you doesn't mean forgetting. And it doesn't mean taking you back." Tunde's heart sank, but he nodded. He understood. After 3 months, Tunde could walk again. Not perfectly, he had to use a cane, and he would limp for the rest of his life. But he could walk. On his last day at the clinic, Chioma gave him some papers to sign. "What is this?" Tunde asked. "Divorce papers," Chioma said calmly. "I'm setting both of us free." Tunde looked at the papers. Part of him wanted to beg her to give him another chance, but he knew he didn't deserve one. He had made his choice 6 months ago. Now Chioma was making hers. He signed the papers with a shaking hand. "Thank you," he whispered, "for everything. For helping me when I didn't deserve it. For teaching me what I destroyed." Chioma nodded. "Go and be a better person, Tunde. Learn from this. Don't ever treat another human being the way you treated me." Tunde left the clinic with his mother. He had no job, no money, no wife, and no respect. He had to move back to his mother's small village house. Every day, when he walked with his cane, people would ask him what happened. He would tell them the truth. "I abandoned my sick wife. Then I got into an accident, and she saved my life. Karma is real." Some people laughed at him. Others felt sorry for him. But everyone learned from his story. 6 months after the divorce, Chioma's life had completely changed. She got promoted at the hospital. She became the head nurse of the emergency department. Her salary doubled. One day, a new doctor started working at the hospital. His name was Dr. Adebayo. He had just moved to Freetown from Nigeria. Dr. Adebayo noticed Chioma immediately, not just because she was beautiful, but because of how she treated patients. She remembered everyone's names. She held scared children's hands. She stayed late to check on critical patients. "She has a good heart," Dr. Adebayo thought. He asked her out for coffee. Chioma said no at first. She wasn't ready. But Dr. Adebayo was patient. He didn't pressure her. He just showed up every day with kindness and respect. After 3 months, Chioma finally said yes to dinner. On their first date, Chioma told him everything. About Tunde, about being abandoned, about Emeka saving her life, about Karma bringing Tunde back. Dr. Adebayo listened without judging. When she finished, he said, "You're the strongest woman I've ever met, and any man who couldn't see your value is a fool." Chioma smiled for the first time in a long time. 1 year later, Dr. Adebayo proposed. Chioma said yes. They got married in a beautiful ceremony at the beach. Emeka walked his sister down the aisle, tears of joy running down his face. "You deserve this, sister," he whispered. "You deserve all the happiness in the world." At the wedding, Chioma made sure to honor Emeka in her speech. "This is my brother. When I had nothing, when I was dying, when everyone left me, he gave me everything. He is the real hero of my story." Everyone clapped. Emeka wiped his tears. As for Blessing, the woman Tunde left Chioma for, she moved on to another man with money. Then another, then another. She never found real happiness because she only cared about what people could give her, not who they were. 2 years after the divorce, Tunde was still living in his mother's village. He worked at a small shop, selling phone credit and basic supplies. He barely made enough money to survive. One day, an old friend from Freetown came to visit. "Tunde, long time, how are you?" "I'm managing," Tunde said with a sad smile. "Did you hear about Chioma?" the friend asked. Tunde's heart jumped. "No. What about her?" "She got married to a doctor. They just had a baby girl. I saw pictures on Facebook. She looks so happy, man. Like she's glowing." Tunde felt a pain in his chest. Not jealousy, something deeper, regret. "I'm happy for her," he said quietly. And he meant it. That night, Tunde sat outside his mother's house, looking at the stars. His leg ached. It always ached when it was about to rain. He thought about everything he had lost. Not just Chioma, not just his job or his money. He had lost his dignity, his self-respect, his chance at real happiness. "I had everything," he whispered to himself, "and I threw it all away." His mother came outside and sat next to him. She didn't say anything. She just held his hand. "Mama," Tunde said, "I finally understand. When you love someone, you don't leave when things get hard. That's when you stay. That's when love matters most." Mama Kanu squeezed his hand. "You learnt your lesson, my son. It cost you everything to learn it, but you learnt it." "I just wish I had learnt it sooner," Tunde said. "Before I lost the best woman I ever had." Today, Chioma lives in a beautiful house with Dr. Adebayo and their 2 children. She still works as a nurse because she loves helping people. Emeka now runs his own successful motorcycle taxi business with 10 bikes. Chioma helped him start it. Every Sunday, they all have dinner together. Chioma always makes sure to remind her children, treat people with kindness, never leave someone when they need you most. And remember, what you do to others will always come back to you. As for Tunde, he still walks with a limp. Every step reminds him of the day he learned that karma doesn't forget, and karma doesn't wait. He never remarried. He never found happiness again, because some lessons, when learned too late, cost you everything. What lesson did you learn from this story? If this story touched you, like, subscribe, and share so others can learn too.